Welcome to the Smash Masters podcast, hosted by Stefan Eschi and Nick Priest. This is where we dig into the auto body collision repair field and talk quality repair methods and how the industry is always changing. Buckle up, it gonna get bumpy.
What's up? Good afternoon.
Hey.
We's episode 46 now, man. These things just keep going by. Gregory's in the house. Gregory was first this time.
Welcome to the Smash Masters podcast, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up,
And
Alex?
yeah, there's a lot of few first comments.
Yeah, nice. Nice to see you guys.
James, hey James, how's it going, man? The phone's going off, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Thank God it's Monday. I don't know about anybody else, but I do not dread Mondays myself. I'm on that weird train where, trying to be positive and everything. I used to dread Mondays, and I don't anymore because of Smash Masters. No, I'm kidding. Because why dread one day out of the week? That's 1/7 of your life, and then you just set the mood for the whole day. I hate Mondays. TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. Absolutely.
I have heard of people having the I guess the Sunday, some people I've heard call them Sunday scaries or just anxiety of what comes around with Mondays. And depending on if you're an office person or you backed up on paperwork and stuff, I could see how Mondays would kind of be dreadful. But
screw Tuesdays. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Who's worried about Tuesday?
I don't like Tuesdays. I just shifted my blame from Monday to Tuesday, I guess, when I did it. But
yeah,
that's all right.
Well, we have an awesome guest in here coming on today, and I think there's a lot to be learned from, and there's a lot of conversation topics we can get into tonight. Owen on Instagram says, "What's up, guys?" So what's up, Owen?
What's up, Owen?
So yeah, let's see if we can get all this stuff packed into one episode. Let's bring him in.
Let's jump into it. Yeah.
What's up, David?
Hey guys, how are you?
How you doing?
Hey, Stephen. Hey, Nick. How are you?
How's it going?
Oh, we're doing wonderful, fantastic.
Great.
As always.
Yeah.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Speaking of Monday, I heard the I was backstage and you're talking about how Monday is, right? The old brown bottle flu Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
People calling it. I only call in when I'm feeling good. I don't want to waste a good day at work,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. No, it's spend it there if that's where you're supposed to be. Hey, Chris.
What's up, Chris? First time
Chris
watching.
is from my neck of the
He's close to you,
woods.
isn't he?
Yeah. I met Chris at MTE. Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
He was at MTE. He was at SEMA. So
Yep.
you could have met him at either of those.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was MTE.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's what's up, Gene? There is. You got how many years of experience in PDR do you have now? That I seen you posted. You have right around. What?
I'm past the 3-decade mark. I started bending metal, if you want to call it that. I started doing PDR in 1991.
1991.
Yeah, so this is truly my 34th year. Early on in my 34th year, but calendar wise, I'm gonna take it and run with it.
Yeah. So take us back to some of these beginning days, and how did you actually get into PDR?
Keith? That was a long story. Hi, Keith. That's a long story. I started in the family plumbing business. And, by the time I was 20 years old, I knew it all, right? Didn't we all? At 20, we knew it all. And I was tired of working for the family, and every school holiday, every waking moment, it was eat, sleep, work, talk, plumbing, right? And it was a great business to grow up in, right? I can't give enough credit to my family. But we had both contracting and supply. My grandfather started the business, in 1908. And my dad and uncle took over as my grandfather's health declined. And all of the kids worked in the family plumbing business, right? But we had 10 union installers. We had the supply side of the business as well. And at the time when I decided to leave working for my company, we had just gone into supply only. The litigious side of installation came about, and if the EPA had a problem with a gas tank in a filling station, and you did the pipe to the pump, you still got named on the other side of the V, even though it was the tank that was leaking, right? Everybody gets named in those lawsuits, right? So, so my dad and uncle changed the business to supply only, and one of our contractor customers, his daughter had married a gentleman in automotive reconditioning, and his son then went to work for Dent Wizard and got trained, started doing very well for himself, and his father came to me and said, "Listen, I know you're a little frustrated here at the family business. There's an opportunity with this startup company called Dent Wizard, and my son Darren's doing very well, and they're looking for people. They're looking for people that have some manual dexterity, right? And I could turn a pipe wrench, and I could operate a drill and a ratchet, right? I mean, I had those skills, right? Yeah. And so I jumped in and I lobbied for myself and tried to sell myself to the franchise owner of Dent Wizard at the time in the St. Louis area. And I think I hounded him enough, and he finally just hired me and took me on, and then the rest kind of is history. And then I got the plane ticket to Miami, where Lito was doing the training for Dent Wizard, and that was my intro in. And then I just have continued on. I just fell in love with the fact I was working with my hands and could do this and make the dents disappear, right?
Yeah, right. And to a high level. I'm
like
sure
magic.
It does feel like magic, right? And it feeds the male psyche too, right? We could all turn wrenches and change brakes and oil all day on a car. Yeah. But that tangible of having the damage and then it being repaired and smooth isn't there. Right. It's a visual tangible.
Very satisfying.
There's basic principles, but there's no tree to show you, like, if this step doesn't work, then do that step. There's no something to get metal back into its original form. You have to kind of be an artist at this point to
there's no set rules and process that you follow for every single dent. It's a reactive process.
There's basic principles, and from what I my experience anyway, and it's been it's a constant learning process. In other words, is what I'm trying to get at.
Sure.
And that's it. And
Keith says you were top pipe layer.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Yeah. Igor says, "Hey Dave, he'll see you in Amsterdam in 2 days."
Hello from Amsterdam. See you in 2 days in Germany.
Oh, hello. Okay. Yeah. I see that.
In Germany. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm finally.
So you're headed over one of these. You're headed over to ISRE.
I am going to ISRE.
Yep. Okay. All right. Are you going to just to be a spectator? Or are you going to be in a booth, or?
I'm kind of, at this point, I'm undecided on that. I don't officially.
Okay.
I don't officially have a work assignment. However, there are several new vendors at the show this year, and I'm sure at some point I'll get called on to help somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm going for a couple of reasons. A couple of personal things going on in my life, but I enjoy that camaraderie. I lived and worked in Europe for 3 years. You guys may not know that.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
And so I have a little bit of a connection with some of the technicians there. Now, not a lot, but going back again, that kind of that lineage, it's amazing to me. I was in Japan in December for ISRE in Japan as well.
Okay.
And it's amazing to me to see every year new faces, right? New people entering the industry, right? New blood coming in to help grow and take over for, at the time when it's time for me to retire, right? And some of my other fellow, longtime repairers, and those that are just interested, right, and want to make a change and want to do what, maybe they want that creative entrepreneur, or they want that creative repair process, right, that feeds, the male ego, so to speak, or whatever that is. And I'm always amazed at the number of new faces I see at the shows. It's amazing, right? And I'm ingrained in the industry, and I love to stay connected, and I'll just jump on an airplane and go, right? It's just that's just how I'm wired sometimes, right?
Is it your first time going to this show?
It is not, no.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was mine and Stefan's, not this past MT, but the year before. And from 2024 to 2025, there was a lot more people, even from those 2 years.
Yeah, just from one year.
So it's definitely growing, and there's lots of trainings and all that out there to be had and stuff. But when
I can tell you how many people I see, that just from my social medias being in Collision, where people are like, "Oh, you're getting into PDR now?" They say, "Well, I would love to learn that. Can you point me to a good starter kit?" They all say, and then I turn that into training. Go to training. Don't go and just buy all these random crap. But it's cool to see, even in our short amount of time looking at PDR, how many people are interested in making the move into PDR.
It is. Yeah. It's
Hey, Rob.
It's a big deal. It keeps getting bigger, and a lot of people ask, what is one thing that is really difficult, or what is the hardest thing in learning this? So is there something that you had that was difficult when you was training, that you kind of struggled with, that might help somebody else even today?
All of it was hard.
Yeah.
We didn't,
the tools and all that stuff, I'm sure, has been updated since then.
We didn't have, the evolution, right, of the tooling, of the reflection techniques.
Yeah.
Our ability now to communicate what's going on, and to help someone new understand better. I think has grown and advanced as well from the time that I started.
It is.
The big thing really is the reflection piece, right, and the LED lights.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that ability to then read the contours, the orange peel, the paint, right, the texture of the paint, to see everything with such fine detail.
Yeah.
Has been, an eye opener, right? What's difficult? Finishing is difficult.
Yes, finishing is really difficult.
It's an 80-20 rule. I can get 80% of the metal up in 20% of the time. But then it's going to take 80% of the time to finish that last 20%, right?
Yes, right, absolutely. And if you're out here and you're learning, you're buying up a set of tools, and you're trying to maybe skimp out on getting a light, because a lot of collision guys say, "I don't need a light, I'm just going to mud it anyway." But when you take a tool back there,
none of them want to use a light.
No, they don't. You're cranking down on it, and you're trying to use the reflections from the roof. And where you think you're pushing, you're kind of way over here a little bit, and you've put these big mountains, and now you've taken something that could have been relatively easy, and you're pushing making all this extra work for yourself. When a light could have fixed a majority of those problems. That's where I had trouble starting to learn how to do PDR, was the light. I didn't want to buy a light, or I didn't think I didn't need it right then. And that was just wrong for me to think that. And once I actually got the light and started using it, pushing how to read the light, it became a lot, I don't want to say easier, but it was doable at that point.
Yeah. A light and good training, right? I mean, even I don't want to call it basic training, but good fundamentals, and there's so much of that is at our fingertips nowadays that didn't exist given the internet, right? And given our social media platforms and online access that we didn't have back then, and that in and of itself, like you said, the guy says, "Hey, where can I get a good starter set? Hey,
Right.
are these tools any good?" It's, here's the good. This, and I'm going to pick on the automotive repair world, both mechanical and collision.
Mhm.
It's
Let's
the
do it.
tech that just gets out of a vocational tech or out of YO tech or something, right? And the first thing he does, he gets on the Snap-on truck and he buys a big toolbox,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then he can't
Mhm.
afford to put much more than Cobalt tools in it, or
Yeah.
Harbor Freight tools in it,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
right? And you put that cart before the horse, right?
Yeah.
And look, what's more important, that big storage tank or quality ratchets and sockets that are going to last a long, long time for you, right? That are going to help you make the money. That's
Yeah.
kind of that training before the tools thing, right? The toolbox before the nice tools, right? Or the inability
Absolutely.
then to fill those Snap-on drawers with Snap-on sockets, right? And I'm not saying Snap-on, is the be all
Yeah.
end all, but you know
No,
my
it's
point,
fine.
right?
Yeah.
That
Yep.
Just getting some
quality,
good quality stuff
that
to make
quality
your job
stuff.
easier.
And don't
Yes.
put that cart before the horse, right?
Mhm.
Get the training, buy a light, learn reflection techniques,
Yeah.
and yeah, okay. The lights are a bit dear in terms of um, price, right?
Mhm.
They're a little proud. However, what they will reveal to you, as you said, you're not going to mound up next to the dent. You're going to
Right.
see where you are. You're going to watch that metal move, and then kind of having that big picture view so that you can see where you are, so that you can see the effect you're having on the metal overall is
Yeah.
another one, because you can easily get this tunnel vision, right, to where you're working,
Mhm.
and you need to look at everything and make sure, where are the crowns, where's that metal being restricted, is it flowing back the way I want it to go, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right. And now knowing how or knowing identifying what kind of metal you're working on is a big thing. Like we was talking before the show a little bit. A lot
Yep.
of these metals are a lot more difficult to maneuver and manipulate than what we had in the past. And it's the techniques and processes are evolving. They're a little bit different, and the style and ways that you would do it has changed. And
Yep.
It's like these body guys that watch the show, they're probably complaining about, the dent pullers or the stud guns not sticking to this new metal, even though it's like so thin. I mean, as we were saying before, but I
yeah,
mean, what they don't know is the PDR techs are having the same issues. We're pushing hard on these panels and it just goes right back in. You got to push even harder with a sharper tip just to get these metals, these high strength steels and aluminums to move.
Yeah.
mhm.
And it's just a different world, just a totally
Yep.
different world. Are there it's hard to think of a way to phrase this. Is there a tool now that you can't live without, that you did live without forever? And maybe it has to do with the
Maybe
aluminum.
maybe some go-tos for today's modern vehicles or repairs.
Any of the, and I think, we did some creative grinding from time to time on tools, and bent tools the way we needed to for certain,
Sure.
certain jobs. And again, then that evolution has come along from the tool manufacturers as well. They've recognized, and even, nowadays, a lot of the tool makers are
That's good.
technicians, right?
Hmm.
Right.
And so we would sharpen a tip of a tool, right? Or we would, put duct tape on a tip, rather than now we've got these amazing screw-on tips and
Hmm.
soft caps and interchangeable caps on the screw-on tips, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
those have been absolutely phenomenal in the industry. The reflection piece with the LED lights has been
Hmm.
a changer, and the glue pulling equipment, right?
Yeah.
Hands
Pulling, yeah.
down, is
The,
Right.
is incredible,
the glue
incredible.
pulling is one of the biggest changes in the automotive industry, like by far, that I've seen come through. And um, Kiko has been a huge proponent in changing the game in that. And
Yep.
You've been through some body shops and done some trainings and spent some time in there with collision guys. What are some of the biggest troubles you see facing some people in some of these shops?
I think, for me, what I've seen, there have been a couple of things, right? One is the most common problem that we've heard it, and I still do some training for Kiko on a regional basis, but not as much as I did. There was, that occupied a lot of my time.
Mm-hmm.
The big pitfall for a lot of the techs, a lot of the body techs, was just simply that they couldn't get the glue to stick.
Yeah.
They just didn't have that consistent adhesion, right? And so then obviously we developed the process and simplified things and made it easy to follow. And so that was big, right? And the other one I think is and I don't mean to upset anybody, I don't mean to upset your audience, is the mentality, right? And that kind of stuck in your way mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no,
and this is how I've done it. This is always how I've done it. This is how I'm going to continue to do it. And the cars today are different. We need to learn different methods. There's going to be different approaches, different tools. And so this nonsense of, I call it nonsense, I'm sorry, but this thought process during a training session,
Mm-hmm.
as an example, when there's a lot of discussion going on, explanation, process, a lot of the bodymen have said, I'd have been done by now if you'd just given me my stud gun. I don't need to learn this.
Right.
And I completely understand and appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not progressive thinking, right? You're not moving forward with the evolution of vehicles and repair methods and things that go along with it, right? And that's true for any industry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
right? It's true for any industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep on top of it.
What the guy that says that isn't realizing is he has, let's just use 10 years invested in using a stud gun in that method. He doesn't have 10 years invested in glue pulling. If he had 10 years invested in glue pulling, he would throw the stud gun and that mentality away because he would have this method perfected to a point where he could be faster.
Right. There's a place. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Fixing bigger damage faster than what you could with a stud puller. Right. So, I mean, I get it. It's mostly the mentality is difficult to kind of turn around. And
Gene says those are his favorite guys to teach. Nothing like watching a non-believer change their mind. I can't. That's great. And one of my favorite videos, it was by Danny Hacker. I think it was like 11 seconds. It was a short video, but it was just him pulling on a rear body panel on a frame machine, and it's going tuk 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 on a glue. And the guy in the background goes, "You gotta be freaking kidding me!" And that was the whole video. Like, unbelievable, or something along those lines. I'm like, oh, that's just great to watch the eyes pop, and I see it in the shops that I work in, and I'll be about to do that initial pull, and I'll be like, "Hey, come over here, come look at this."
Danny and Gina and I have had that conversation many times.
Yeah, and it hasn't been too long ago since people have been able to watch somebody take a glue tab in a body shop and pull it with a frame machine. That's still really new, and
that's new.
Yeah. It's and we can talk about it all day, but if we don't get it out there and broadcast it to people, it's still it doesn't go any further than what we are. So I've seen Gene, I've seen you and Kiko and all these other guys just out here promoting it, but they still have a lot of work to do to get people to understand, like, this method is tried, true, and it does work. It's just a matter of getting it out there.
There's still a place. Listen, I'm not changing the subject on this, but there's still
pulling is the devil.
Well, I like the devil, and I like being called Dent Guy. Okay, we've all seen that little meme.
Yeah,
there's still a place for a stud gun, right? There's still places where you need that mechanical bond, right? The chemical bond with the glue is just not going to finish out or get that particular area or line or hard, hard to move part of the metal out, right?
Yeah.
There's still a place for that. Again, following manufacturer position statements too, and procedures, right? But
Right.
it's not a complete replacement, but man, is it a heck of a tool to have in your arsenal.
Yeah.
And why not make use of new technology changes? Look at these same guys that are, this is my opinion, the same guys that are the naysayers and difficult changing their mind. They probably used to watch like Julia Child on PBS. And we're not cooking like Julia Child did anymore, right? The things that times have changed. We're cooking like Gordon Ramsay and Guy Fieri now, right? You know what I mean? And that's evolved, right? And okay, yes, it's become sensationalized and entertaining and all that, and over the top, right? With the need to have the viewership with TV, right? But like, everything evolves and changes, right? That's been going on since the dinosaurs walked the earth, and they evolved and they didn't change. But like everything evolves and changes, right?
Right. Like, I mean, like you're talking about as far as
we're no different than any other industry.
Yeah, as far as food goes, Gordon Ramsay changed the deal with that by yelling at people while they're making chicken parmesan. So it's it is involved and evolved, and there's still a relevant place for we're not going to call them stud guns, because the stud is technically a little copper stud that you weld on, but there's dent pullers in general, and they make some really good ones out there that are real efficient, don't burn the backside of the panel anymore. But none of them really can do lateral tension efficiently without damaging the panel more than what they are to start with. So,
and that, for me, I mean, glue pulling was a game changer for me, but adding lateral tension in as well was huge, absolutely huge. I mean, there was a time when I would pull laterally with tack and pull plates, but usually we do it in one direction. And we weren't thinking about spreading the metal out. We were just thinking about, it's wrinkled up, I got to pull it back, and so, that changed the game with me with repairing large damage. And I do want to say, I'd say maybe, so I pretty much all I do is large repairs now. And I'd say maybe a little under half the time I have to grab the dent puller towards the end of the repair. And I always tell people there's nothing wrong with that. You're doing a hybrid repair. I mean, one, you're saving panels. You can save panels that you were going to replace if you were just going to go at it with a little dent puller. And then with the addition of now you save the panel mostly with glue. Now you're using the dent puller for the little odds and ends. It's not a big deal, especially if you're using the new stuff that doesn't really burn the backside. And we've got corrosion protection, cavity wax, and all that. I mean, it's totally changed my life. The lateral tension, the ability of what I can save, 100%.
And I mean, you think about it in the way that we teach it, and I don't know necessarily if it was Gene or whomever came up with that kind of analogy. It's the old bed sheet analogy, right? You want to stretch that. You want to stretch your bed sheet when you make your bed and make it nice and tight, so there's no wrinkles in the sheet, right? So when you get in it the next day, or that evening after you make your bed in the morning, like, oh, this is nice. It's always nice to sleep in a hotel because somebody else does it for you, right? But you know what I mean. But then the same principle with the metal, right? You want to stretch it and take these wrinkles out, right? But when you do it, when you have that force going, the metal flows even better. When when you're taking it out, that metal flows even easier with a little bit of tension, right? I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's amazing that we haven't come out with that and done it earlier.
Right.
It's the aha moment.
You would be insane to take your finger and try to poke every one of those high spots in your bed sheet down. You would, I mean, and that's what we do is PDR, before lateral tension. You would sit there and pick up all that, and the more metal that you move without disturbing that texture, the faster your repairs go. slower is faster, slower is smoother.
That's right.
Yeah, slow is fast, fast is smooth.
Fast is smooth. Banger show.
I first heard that when it came to racing.
Yeah.
It's going into the corners. Slow is fast, fast is smooth.
Yeah, I just see
I can't even say it.
You got to turn right to go left.
You got it. You
Right?
got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, and it is, right? It's, I actually said, you just pop the dent out? No, the dents just pop in. They don't pop out, right? You have to to physically work every part of that, right?
Right.
Yep.
That dent went in faster than it's going to come out.
Absolutely. And the lateral tension takes a good portion of that and makes it easier for the metal to go back to its original form.
Right.
And that was one thing at MTE that was, I think, was a big deal this year, on top of glue pulling or cold glue pulling. A lot of new stuff coming out. So that was nice to see. That was good to see that. And we're still working on that and still got some stuff to do. But cold glue has came a long way as a repair technique as well in the last few years.
And if you're a body tech and you want to move a big amount of metal, throw a lateral tension tool on and then put a little cold glue on and start bulking out, a big area.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Superman and rip the panel off and pull with all your might. There's no need. You can make a controlled movement of the metal and use the tools that are in the arsenal today, right? I mean, that's the bottom line, right? You never stop learning, you never stop evolving. And no matter what industry you're in, the way they treat medical patients is different today than it was 5, 10, 20 years ago, right? I mean, it's all, everything continues to evolve, right? And we as the automotive community need to embrace that, right? Get comfortable being uncomfortable with that change, but here I am 34 years later, and I'm doing things differently than when I learned, right? But I want to adapt. I don't want to be the dinosaur, right? I want to adapt. I want to continue to roam and be around. I don't want to go extinct.
And that's why you're successful.
You've evolved. I mean, those techniques that were used 30 years ago are still relevant. They're still but the way in which you approach them and you get these techniques going is different than it used to be, and that's okay. It's a lot easier on the body now than like with lateral tension and like glue pulling and stuff. I think that it makes for a better repair than just going straight and cutting a quarter panel off just because you couldn't get that heavy crease out because you didn't have lateral tension or something like that, which now you can get it. Prior to that, you might get it out, but you would have it like kind of bubble out or dome shaped to you. And there was really nothing you could do about that. And you would kind of beat the metal so thin to where you would have to do an extreme amount of shrinking to get it back in that normal state, to where these techniques just take all that out of it.
I mean, I was starting in this trade, and it pretty much was just a generalized of anything bigger than this, just get a new panel, because I mean, you're sitting there with the pins or the dent puller, and take forever to get all that metal out, little dink at a time. It's just nice to start looking at damage of, can I get it out? Instead of just it's this big, just get a new one. Just get a new one, and that's how I was conditioned. And it's horrible because I see the rest of the industry is like that. The repair artists are leaving, and I actually saw a comment the other day. Somebody said all the good body guys leave and become dent pushers, and I'm like, you're not wrong.
Well.
If they know it's good for them,
you're not wrong. I mean, it's kind of the industry's pushing us out.
But do you think? And this is now I'm going to go on a tangent. I don't mean to. I'm sorry.
Let's do it.
Do you not think though, as time goes on and these cars continue to evolve, there's too many cars in the marketplace still to this day that don't have the technology advancements that the new cars have. but we all know, right? You've got the adaptive cruise control, the lane departure warning. You
Uh-huh.
back a Lexus up towards a wall right now, the thing will stop on you before you get into the parking spot, and it'll damn near slam itself in park. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm still backing up here.
Yeah.
I technically truly was in control, but the computers and those that electronic side took over, thinking the human wasn't paying attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as that continues to evolve, are some of these heavy hits going away, and is it going to be more hybrid repairs and a paintless collision repair that comes into being? Because, sorry, I got a little message that popped in. Because these heavy hits will go away because Big Brother's taking over for the majority of your drive, so to speak. That advent of self-drive and cars correcting themselves and protecting you as the occupant is here, right? And it's been here for quite some time.
Yeah.
You can't change a lane. You can't change lanes in these new cars without using your blinker, because the steering wheel is going to want to keep you in the lane. It's that advanced. The computer's that finite and knows where you are down to that degree that, so then
It's going to change.
is that the future for repair? You and I are going to be in control of our vehicle from our garage and onto the first couple streets in the neighborhood. But then when you get to that main drag, is Big Brother going to take over the control of your vehicle to get you to your destination?
Yeah.
I
It's
can
coming.
see it happening. I can
Are
see
we
it
going to
happening.
are we going to have it completely, totally? No, because you're still going to have the old cars on the road that are not technologically
Right.
advanced that way. But when you have that, and again, it's subject to the system working as well, and I'll air quote system. We have Waymo cars here, self-drive Waymo taxis here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
They will pick you up at the airport, and they're Jaguars. They are outfitted with cameras and sensors and beams and radar and just all kinds of things. They're freaky,
Yeah.
but
I've seen a
that
few
technology
on the road.
exists. Yeah, that technology exists. And again, back to that piece, it's an evolutionary thing. And I'm not saying every body shop's going out of business. That's not, I don't dare say that. But the face of repairs is going to change as we continue to progress. Right. And for those body techs that are choosing to go paintless, that's probably, that's a precursor maybe to some of what I've just said, right? Or those are the progressive guys who have taken it and put their arms around it rather than shunning glue pull, right?
Right.
And I love to see it, right? I've got body guys come up to me, hey, what's the tool? What tools do you recommend? I recommend good training.
Yeah.
But there's going to be crossover, right? Both ways. There are probably some PDR guys that are, that maybe want to learn how to paint,
Absolutely.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm not thinking correctly, but I think there are.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are.
And there's going to be, right? Again, we're all in the industry together. We're all on this side of the automotive fence, right? Servicing whatever, dealers, insurance, individual customers, whatever your business model is. We're all in it together.
Yeah.
To repair cars. And there's got to be some crossover and cross training, because that's natural part of our industry, of any industry.
Yeah,
I love it.
I agree.
I love
with
how
that.
the two industries are kind of meshing a bit. You got PDR guys doing collision work. You've got collision guys picking up dent tools and glue pulling. And I do see it. I've seen it. Sorry to cut you off, Nick.
No, that's fine. I was just going to go back to where Ashley was talking about the timed event for collision repair stuff. As far as it didn't take you that long to do, so we probably can just go ahead and discount you for that. And that's a big thing that I've seen in the collision side, as far as work related repairs with repairing different various types of panels and stuff. People want to kind of cut you down on that side a little bit. So that's where I see the biggest problem as far as not being able to have some type of paintless dent repair skill in the set, as far as like you're battling now. Well, we have to paint this panel, so we're going to discount you and cut you for that. Which, if you can fix it and leave the paint on there, then obviously that's a lot better. It's least intrusive and stuff. So I think I don't know how you talking about cars, self-driving and all that, big damage kind of going away because Big Brother taking over. I don't know exactly how all that will pan out.
Nobody
as far
does.
as the
We're gonna
future.
have to watch.
Yeah.
I'm going to be retired by then. I'll watch.
Yeah. I mean, we still have a good ways to go on that, but
Well, so
Absolutely.
the industry
one thing
is
I
going
want
to change in the next few years drastically on how repairs are being achieved here.
you and your shop should not be penalized for investing in new tooling and new skills. I totally agree.
Right.
I back again to what Ashley said, as they treat it as a timed event. I mean, so I mean, body shops are paid in hours, labor hours, and that's actually why I have an issue with when people come out and they say how fast they can PDR something. Because these insurance companies right now are paying PDR as a size and where it is and what you have to do and what the metal is and whatever. And that's how we get the money we get for that. As soon as we start turning it into a timed unit, they're going to start cutting us and cutting us and cutting us. So you're doing it this fast. We have studies that say you can do it this fast. That's all we're going to pay.
Right.
And so when I see people telling how long it took them to push out a dent or whatever, I really, I mean, the information's going to get out there anyway, I guess. But I have problems with insurance companies like paying by the hour because I get faster at something as I progress, you know, so I shouldn't get less because I'm more experienced. I fear for that in the PDR industry when the ones that deal with insurance companies. Mercedes implementing technology where the car jumps upward so side crashes are able to hit structure rather than doors. There is some cool stuff out there.
And like Daniel says, there's still going to be storm damage. So either way, the way that you
That's true.
repairing vehicles now will still be different across the board.
And Mike hit it on the nose here. More filler equals more hours to a lot of insurance companies. So that's something I'm dealing with at the body shop. Is I'm taking these dents and I'm pushing them out. Sometimes full push to paint. Insurance companies like to see a picture of a big mud spot, you know, to justify hours. How do I prove what I've done PDR wise or push to paint wise to the insurance company to make sure I get the time when technically I've got more skills than the guy who's just covering stuff up with filler.
Yeah.
It's
So the insurance company's even more archaic than the body tech who doesn't want to give up his stud welder and choose glue repair.
And
exactly
this is it's not just giving up the stud gun. It's all these other things combined that you're kind of taking away from a collision technician, so to speak, when you tell him put your stud gun down and do this, that, and other. You have to change his whole world, and you pretty much have to document every process every time now to prove what you've done. Where before, like Mike said, you know, take you a big gigantic mud spot, take you a picture, going about your day, everything's good, you know, just stick it in the file and we're done. Right. So yeah, when you pull this huge damage out,
then it's got to be photos with a light for the insurance industry.
So
right, and maybe multiple photos where, unfortunately, you have to stop when you're in the middle of doing a repair. Take a photo to show the progression.
Yeah.
And then start your repair again. Take another photo 2/3 of the way through, and then take your final photo. I don't know. I don't know that that's going to work. But my
that's
point,
kind of what I'm doing.
My point and example, though, is that how backwards the insurance industry is, and we had this discussion right before the show. That they don't care. There's so many different buckets of money within the insurance umbrella, right? They don't care. They really don't care how many days somebody's in a rental. They'll make it
Right.
sound like they do, but they really don't, because that bucket of money for rental has got a lot of money in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's imagine if we had full access to any insurance company as consultants.
Yeah.
How much money we could save them and change their viewpoint and pay what needed to be paid, reduce their liabilities. It's mind-boggling because of the size of the insurance companies, right? It gets lost, and it's mind-boggling to me. And that's just what I've experienced myself. And I'm just me. I'm just one guy. Imagine times a company like, how many stores does Caliber have? 1,200, 1,500,
1,800.
1,800 now. Like, Jesus, how many claims each insurance company is processing?
Yeah.
And oh my Lord in heaven, right? Just think, it's almost as bad as the government waste. You know what I mean?
It is. And speaking of Caliber, if you have a shop on a south side of a town that's slow, well, they can pull from the north side and just bring it back down here and keep these guys fed up and good. If you're a mom and pop shop, you've got one store, you're trying to do what you do, and it's slow. Well, it's just slow for you. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
So these big MSO stores are kind of they're eating at the industry heavy. Yeah. And I get it. So there's going to be different ways to combat the process as a whole and getting paid for your work. And like when I said I first started PDR work and I didn't want to buy a light, well, to me, if you're going to buy one tool to put in your shop, then you need to have the light in there, because the light is going to get you paid from front to back in the documented process.
Hands down.
That and the body tech has to document his entire process. That's how I got into recording videos of my repairs to begin with, because I was going to fix a gate on a 4Runner, and the service writer said, "Yeah, I'll take a picture of it." He took a picture of it. Well, it didn't save on his camera, so when I got the dent fixed, it was much smaller than what we had originally talked about. And he said, "Well, I don't have anything. I don't have anything showing that you actually fixed damage that big, because the photo saved, so we can't pay you that." And
lovely.
And from
this is such a valid point.
Right. So from then on, I said, regardless if I show this to social media, whatever, I'm keeping this for myself, because this is what I've actually done to this car. And it's not service writers that need to make sure you have pictures as a collision tech. It's the collision tech. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And
you don't trust the office to do it. I've worked in now 3 or 4 shops that had a light, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to use this in every estimate," and then just do it yourself.
But you have to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to do that, right? It is so. Here, Gene is on the money. It would change the process for everybody, and the shops would make more money, because what you don't see without the light is this for whatever the hours are, okay?
Right.
3, 5, whatever your shop writes it for, right?
Yeah.
What you don't see, if you put that light up, what you would then see with that energy transfer and that metal movement becomes this big, and what was written for 3 or 5 hours should have been written for 10 or 12, right? That's another one that gets me. It is why every shop is not utilizing LED lighting reflection technologies to document all of it and watch and look and see where that metal has gone and where the crowns, the buckles are. How far has that gone? Like we've all watched these crash videos, right? In super slow motion, right? The truck going in at 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour. And you watch, and it gives me goosebumps every time. And you watch that metal, and you watch those energy waves go down the sides of the vehicle. I got goosebumps talking about it.
Especially,
swear to God, I do.
Especially if they have an overhead camera.
that energy wave, right,
Yeah.
from that impact, right, and this obviously is on a severe basis on the crash test, but even a simple door ding that's this big, you and I know as metal workers how far that energy wave actually traveled, right?
Yeah.
And do you miss something on a photo? Absolutely. Without proper reflection.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's again, there we go. The similarities and love or hate PDR, love or hate body guys, or what used to be love hate relationships. It's now starting to meld together. The two industries together would be stronger. There's strength in numbers.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just like you were talking about earlier about collision guys not wanting to change the process because they've been doing this way for so long.
The
A
office.
lot of the office and service writers have that problem, like just
Yeah.
adding that extra step with documenting stuff with these type of lights. And go
And
ahead.
not to pick on writers, I know there's a few in the comments there, Ashley. If I come in and I come into the office and I'm trying and I'm telling you something, it's because I'm trying to help us both get more hours, And so,
Right.
I mean, Gene was my Kiko trainer. God, it's got to be 2 years ago now. And I remember him bringing a light in and clearly just being like, all right, everybody look at this dent. How much time? And everyone's like, 3 hours.
That's it.
Put the light up
Boom.
on it. How much time now? Oh, that's at least 8 hours. It's more than double of what you were just asking. All you did was turn on a light. But the only thing I wanted to ask past that, sorry, Ashley. The only thing I wanted to ask past that is if you've ever been part of any kind of blueprinting. Because not even though we can get pictures with the light, sometimes people looking at those pictures on the other end aren't able to read it the way we are. So I like to draw on the dent. Draw it low, high, maybe crown, right body line here, body line here, body line here. Yeah, you didn't know there were 4 body lines through that dent, did you? And I just draw, and I call it blueprinting.
Sure.
And just draw on the whole thing, and then put it and circle the whole thing. Now there's a clear picture that you could take a picture of any angle, and someone can see what's on there. And as long as you have a good relationship with your adjuster, then and they trust you, then they're willing to take that kind of stuff. Daddy Gene was your trainer, and Daddy Gene, Daddy Danny.
but isn't that it's the CYA, right? You're covering yourself and you're documenting, right? The more documentation and proof you have, the better, which again then is slow is fast, right? Because it's going to take time to do that and go through the process and go get the card, get the light, mark it up, take the photo. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the shop could have done let's just say a shop does 200 cars a month, a big shop, whatever it is, right? I don't know right numbers, but a car does a couple hundred repairs a month at a big MSO shop or something, right? But they could have done 100 less cars and had more profitability,
right?
I don't want to sound like Larry Montanez here, right? But you've got to document and get paid for what you're doing. And sometimes taking that time to document and to prove what you're doing is worth it, right? And then, again, I can't change the MSO mindset. However, then there's time involved for the people involved in those steps, and document that time involved and charge accordingly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, our estimate fee is no longer $125. Our estimate fee is now $295. Or it's a silly comparison, but you document and you list out what you've done and you get paid for it, right?
Do you think?
I know it's a fight against the insurance companies. I know.
Right. Do you think there should be, like, just you personally? Do you think that there should be an estimate fee for some of these bigger repairs, or Just, I mean, regardless in PDR or collision, do you think
In
they should?
in PDR or in collision?
Either one.
Let's
Either
stick,
one.
let's
Either-
stick with PDR. Let's stick with PDR.
And now let's clarify a little farther,
Mhm.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Am I estimating for an individual customer, or am I
Insurance.
estimating
We're talking
for
about
an
insurance.
insurance job through a shop?
Insurance.
Then I think if a shop calls you and you make the trip
Mhm.
to do the estimate in person, if they don't communicate via photos, or you need to see it to really do it methodically,
Yeah.
Mhm.
of course, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
Does everybody do it? No. Do I always do it with my good customers? Absolutely not. Because they are my good customers and I know I'm going to get the work.
Mhm.
And so I do it kind of as a convenience,
Yeah.
right? Or as an additional service. So
Yeah.
now I'm the pot calling myself black, right? Because now I'm not getting paid for what I'm doing.
Right.
But yes, absolutely. And when I do hail estimates, I charge an estimate fee. I
Mhm.
charge a mark, photo, and clean the vehicle fee. I
Yeah.
charge for glue pulling supplies,
Mhm.
right? I mean, all these things need to be accounted for and taken in, because there is a cost. As you know, even though we alluded to how great glue pulling is, there is a
Mhm.
cost associated with it, right? And it's not a lot.
Absolutely.
It's not a lot, but if I throw on 25 or $100 on a bill on a hail car, big deal. If it's an individual customer or something, I think retail there should be a charge if you glue pull, because there's wear and tear on your
Right.
equipment. You've got the tabs, you've got the investment in the tooling, and you've got the consumables that you use.
Yeah.
And we all, everybody gets handed down those taxes, right? You rent a car at the airport. Oh, there's an airport concession fee.
Right.
Oh, there's
Right.
a use tax for this facility, right? Like all of these things get handed down to us as the consumer.
Right.
What's the difference in automotive?
Yeah. There's really none. It's just I don't think everybody has fully gotten on board with maybe adding those into the estimates, as far as, I guess, because they're afraid that they won't get the job or something if they do it, so they just choose not to do it.
GPR setup 0.5 hours. I'm going to mention that to my riders tomorrow.
$20 consumable 4 hours when I get at the body shop.
Hey, Mike Mack, 0.5. Man, are you writing for Geico or what? Trader?
Yeah, right.
0.5, you mean like 2.5?
For
Yeah.
GPR setup? I mean, if you can get
I mean,
it.
there's some time, right?
See ya,
Slow
Gene.
is fast.
Mm-hmm.
Slow is
Thanks for coming
fast.
in, Gene. Yeah, slow is fast.
See you,
fast
Gene
is smooth.
Easy. Right?
Mean
But
Gene.
slow is fast. And so it takes a little time, right? And you've got
Yeah.
to have that quantity of glue to get on a big tab for lateral tension,
Mm-hmm.
and then let your glue gun, reheat back up again to get the other tab, if you're using that amount of glue, but then that adds to the cleanliness, the ease, and man, it's worth. Yeah, of course it does. It takes me at least 30 minutes. I'm slow, Mike. I'm getting old. I'm not very good, but I am slow,
I like that.
but like whatever. You could create a line item, right? You could create a SKU, right? To scan and put onto an estimate, no matter whether you're running a PDR shop or running a collision shop, and line item that, right? And then this is what it is. This is the cost of the repair, period, end of discussion. And that's where we all lose it, right? When it comes to some of these negotiations and discussions on price. But this is the cost of the repair. I'm sorry. We paid $10,000 for this Kiko kit. We paid $12,000, right? This is the cost of the repair. Now we're building in, whatever that as you do the math backwards, whatever that cost is per repair, in order to recoup your investment.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Yeah, right. Like the change in metal, like you were talking about, as far as the PDR tech goes. Yeah, you might put high strength steel markup on the panel, but that's just to clarify. Hey, high strength steel is more difficult to push on but we don't add the consumables for the cherry caps or all these other things, or at least I haven't been. I've been kind of pulling myself through and kind of saying, hey, I've used these consumables doing these jobs. I need to charge for these.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have to work on as far as, and I'm speaking to only to myself here. I have to work on that as well, and getting the process a little more better, and like SKU line items and things, and
Right.
charge
I have
for each
faith
one
in
of
you.
those. And it's small stuff, but you still have to pay for it, and it's still part of the repair process. So why not get paid for it?
Yeah. And it's part of the expense of doing the job,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The AC guy comes out and services your AC and puts Freon in. There's an old school term. Puts Freon in. He charges you for the Freon. He doesn't just give that
Right.
to you for free for you calling him and him billing you for his hour of time and
Mhm.
call out fee. Right?
Yeah.
You pay for the parts. You pay for what is being used on the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back to the history of me coming out of the plumbing trade, right? Our customers paid for what was used on the job, plus the
Right.
labor.
Right. And it's regardless of how big or small it was. I mean,
Right.
if you wanted to give somebody, I don't know, butt connect or something, that's on you, but you still had to pay for it. It gets
Right.
added in there regardless. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
go ahead.
I have a totally random question that has nothing to do with anything we were talking about.
Okay.
Being that you have some plumbing experience and about auto body, kind of, would you rather be a plumber than an auto body technician, or vice versa? Or do you have no opinion?
I have no opinion right now. I love what I do,
Mhm.
and I'm
That's fair.
I'm deeply ingrained in automotive, right? And
Yeah.
it was my choice to do that. However, here. How about this? I'm gonna get my company plumbing family stripes back. Any trade that you have a skilled trade, right, that
Mhm.
can't be exported is invaluable to your future in life and career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and this is what I tell my kids. Listen, hey boys, if you're not going to go formal education, I'm very cool with that. However, you then need to get a job or a skill. It can't be exported.
Mhm.
Emphasis on skill, right, rather than job. But the trades are going to make a comeback, right? We've got to have craftsmen, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This
Right.
country is too big not to have people that know how to turn a screwdriver, right? We
Mhm.
can't continue down that path of destruction where everybody has to have a 4-year degree. I think everybody knows that. That's a little passé now, but
Yeah.
like either industry is incredible, right? Plumbers are, they deliver they keep the nation safe, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? They deliver you safe drinking water and they take your wastewater away.
Mm-hmm.
Plumbers
Natural
are
gas,
responsible, and natural gas. Plumbers are responsible for the health of the nation, quite honestly, outside of
Yeah.
the medical community in that respect, right? And electricians, right? Carpenters, all of the trades, and we can go down the road.
Yeah.
Automotive, right? If I were a Dominican baseball player, I'd say baseball been very, very good to me, right?
Mhm.
If I were a
Yeah.
Dominican car guy, automotive been very, very good to me. Automotive has been very, very good to me, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Knowing and growing up in the plumbing trade was very, very good to me. The only thing I subcontract in my house is the HVAC guy. You guys come and deal with that. Anything else I can fix, right? I can do
Yeah,
light
there you go.
electrical. I can change the faucets. I can clear the drain line. I can do light carpentry. I can do a little drywall, and I can do a little mud work
Yeah.
and paint.
No,
I can do mud and paint. I should be a body guy, right? I can do a little drywall. Hang on, honey, move that. Okay, I got to spackle that hole and paint the wall. Okay, right? I can do that,
Yeah.
But like that doesn't make me a body man, right? But that trade and
No.
knowing and having that manual dexterity, right, with your hands
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
in our lives is critical, right?
Yeah.
No one can take your
It's
skills
key.
from you.
No one can take that, and they can't be exported. That's the point, right? Same
Right.
difference. It can't take it from you, and that
Right,
and that has given all of us that freedom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? I'm
That-
a little Italian tonight.
No,
but, yeah.
No, you're good.
That's good. The reason why we brought that up is because we've been kind of toying with the idea of maybe getting different trades people on and just kind of saying or kind of getting a day in their life or like how
Like an
we
electrician.
like we
or an
pick apart
HVAC
collision
person.
all the time, and we bring
Right.
good stuff or bad stuff, or how's the trade changing. We've kind of been toying with the idea of getting a couple other sides of the blue collar aisles on, and just to see what they're like or how they stack up to the automotive world.
Sure.
And if we had enough interest in that, we would probably take it on, because it sounds pretty interesting to me to see what the rest of the trades worlds are like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to know, if nothing else. It's
If I had it to do over, I'd do it the way I did it.
yeah. I
don't know if that's right or wrong, and I can't. How do I know whether I would or wouldn't have been successful on the family side of the business had I even been able to take it over or run it, or would I have been that next generation and run it into the ground, right? Like,
Right.
You have a passion that you found that you enjoy, and some people's passions are carpentry work or whatever whatever the case may be, building furniture. But these are all things that still run the parts of daily lives of our worlds. Like you said, plumbers are essentially the healthcare of our world, as far as getting the bad out and bringing good stuff in. So I don't know. It's something to think about. It could be good. It could be fun.
Yep.
Well, boys, it's we got through an hour.
Yeah,
we did it in 7 minutes.
Right. And we didn't even get to touch on half the stuff we could have talked about. So I don't know. Maybe we can.
Right. I mean, maybe we'll have you on again sometime to talk, because I did want to talk more about wholesale accounts, more specifically PDR, obviously.
That's okay.
No. We kept rambling on about trades and stuff, but
yeah.
And the wholesale stuff, I think, is more selfish for him and I, honestly, than our listeners.
There's just so much to talk about these all these small little details in this trade that it's hard to kind of tackle every single one of them in an hour.
Yeah. It's tough, right? I mean, automotive is, and again, I still use this reference. So many industries are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get octopus, right? You got like 8 legs, right? Going every which way.
Yeah.
And then what do you pick and choose, and what road do you go down? Yeah. And you can't do it all, right? You can't touch it all. You've just got to pick and choose. And tonight just went the way that it went, and
that's what it is. People are saying they enjoyed it.
I made my notes based on our conversation before the show started, right? And I was ready to go with the MTE with the training series that Kevin Bird and I are doing, and I was ready to go, but then we never got there. So
we never got there. So keep your notes though, because we will get back to you at a later time with that, because that is also important too as well. I know from people that are like you said, it's the natural evolution to go from collision to PDR. So obviously those are steps that are going to be involved in that, and we can tackle that in another episode. We can specifically make it about that, because there's a lot of important stuff there.
Sure. I think it'd be great for some of those body men, that are hesitant on evolving and changing. I think it'd be great for them to go to a show like MTE.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because it is an eye opener, right? With all things mobile, right? That mobile technician in the automotive, right? ADAS obviously has become a big one, and a lot of guys are doing that too, right? And taking that scanning technology. But it's such an awesome. Again, there you go with the octopus legs, right? We're going in different directions,
You're just
but
all
it's
over the place.
so but it's so eye-opening at MTE, right? When you get into dense detail, the tooling, the technology, the training aspect, right? It's if you can't tell by my voice, I'm still like, it's still awesome and amazing, right?
It really is.
After 3+ decades, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to work now. I'm ready. I'm fired up. Let's go.
Yeah. Well,
That's awesome.
we're definitely going to continue this at a later date, but we're gonna we'll specifically gear it for this topic, MTE and the wholesale world and that kind of straight into there. We will leave the collision part out of it, but yeah, we've taken up an hour and 10 minutes of everybody's time, so we'll go ahead and cut this one
Wasted
out.
10 hour and 10 minutes of everybody's time.
You'll never get that time back.
No,
nope.
I wouldn't call it that.
Thanks for listening.
I'm just messing with you.
We had a fun time going through this stuff. So
thanks, guys.
We
Thanks, Stephen.
appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Nick.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely,
sure.
man. We appreciate it.
I
And
enjoyed
I'm just gonna end it right there. So,
all right. Well,
bye everybody.
see you.